Hey guys, it's Dylan. Today we're going to go over rest and recovery and overtraining. I've been noticing on some of the blogs here on the site that there's been a few guys that have been having questions regarding their workouts and what's sounding like they're hitting plateaus in their workouts. So I really want to address that subject in this episode. Most athletes know that getting enough rest after their exercise is really essential to keeping up a high level of performance. But, still they'll overtrain and feel guilty when they take a day off. Now, this is really important to do that occasionally because the body repairs and strengthens itself during this time in between your workouts. And continuous training, it can actually weaken the muscle tissues. Rest days are really critical to sports performance for a variety of reasons, but most importantly, rest is physically necessary so that your muscle tissues can repair and rebuild and strengthen. Let's take a look at what happens during recovery. Building recovery time into any training program, it's important because this is the time that your body adapts to the stress of the exercise that you're doing, and the real effects of your training are going to take place. Recovery, it also allows the body to replenish the energy stores and repair any damaged tissue that might be there because of the workout. Exercise or any other physical work, it causes changes in your body, such as muscle tissue breakdown and depletion of energy stores or muscle glycogen, as well as fluid loss. Recovery time, it allows these stores to get replenished, and it allows those tissues to start repairing themselves. Without sufficient time to repair and replenish, your body's going to continue to break down from the intensive exercise. So let's take a look at short and long-term recovery. Now keep in mind that there are two categories of recovery. There's immediate or short-term recovery from a particularly intense workout session that you might have. And then there's long-term recovery, and that's recovery that should be built into your entire year-round training schedule. But both are important for your optimal performance. Now with short-term recovery, sometimes it's called active recovery, and we've spoke about this in previous episodes. And this occurs in the hours immediately after your intense exercise or your workout. Active recovery refers to doing some kind of low-intensity exercise after your workout, during the cool-down phase, or immediately after a really heavy set. Another major focus of recovery immediately following your exercise has to do with replenishing the energy stores and the fluids that are lost during your exercise, and also optimizing the protein synthesis, meaning the process of increasing the protein content in your muscle cells, preventing muscle breakdown, and increasing muscle size by eating the right foods after your workout. With short-term recovery, this is also the time for the soft tissue in your body, meaning in muscles, tendons, ligaments, to repair themselves and remove the chemicals that tend to build up in those cells during a heavy workout. Long-term recovery techniques refer to those kind that they're built into your seasonal training program, your overall training program, and you'll find that most of the best designed training schedules, they're going to include recovery days or even weeks that are built into the annual training schedule. Now our bodies will adapt to the exercise programs that we're giving it. With the principle of adaptation, it says that when we put stress on our body in the form of a physical exercise, it's going to adapt and become more efficient. It's just like learning any new skill. At first it's a little bit difficult, but over time it pretty much becomes second nature. And once your body has adapted to the given stress, it's going to require additional stress to continue to make progress. There's limits as to how much stress your body can take before it starts breaking down and you start risking injury. Doing too much too quickly, it's going to result in injury or muscle damage. But doing too little or doing it too slowly, you're not going to see much results or improvement. So this is why a lot of trainers they'll set up specific training programs that will increase time and intensity at a very planned rate and allow rest days throughout that program. In the worst case scenario, too few rest and recovery days, it can lead to something called overtraining syndrome, and this is a very difficult condition to recover from. Overtraining syndrome, this is something that typically will happen with athletes who are training for a competition or a specific event, and they're going to train beyond the body's ability to recover. Sometimes with these workouts, you often exercise longer and harder so you can make bigger gains, but without adequate rest and recovery, this is going to backfire on you, and it's actually going to decrease your performance. Conditioning requires a really good balance of overload and recovery. Too much overload or too little recovery time is going to result in both physical and physiological symptoms of the overtraining syndrome. You'll have a feeling of being washed out, tired, drained, and have an overall lack of energy. Pain in muscles and joints. Noticing a sudden drop in your performance. Insomnia. Headaches. Decreased immunity. A decrease in your training capability and intensity. Moodiness and irritability. Depression. A decreased appetite. An increased incident of injuries. And in some severe cases, a compulsive need to exercise. Now, if you suspect you are overtraining, start with the following. Hydrate, drink plenty of fluids, and alter your diet if necessary. Get a sports massage. This can help you relax mentally and physically. Now, total recovery from overtraining syndrome, this could take several weeks, so be patient and make sure that you're including proper nutrition and some stress reduction in that. Now, with preventing overtraining syndrome, it's not always easy to predict overtraining, especially because all our bodies are very different. So, that is a key reason why it's very important to find out which kind of training works best for your body. It is important, though, that you vary your training throughout the year and make sure that you schedule in some sufficient rest and recovery time. If you recognize any of the warning signs of overtraining, it's really important that you objectively assess your training routine and make adjustments before you wind up getting sick or injured. Okay, now let's touch base on hitting plateaus in our workouts. The main reason that you do want to vary your training throughout the year is that because, like stated before, our bodies get used to the load that we put on it. And if you're doing the same routine over and over, day in and day out, your body's going to get used to this. And it's going to get to the point where it knows what to expect, and you're not going to make any more gains. This is called a plateauing effect. One of the good things to do is split workouts, and this is really good, especially when you're more advanced in your workout routines and you've been training for a little while. With the split routines, you're working out different parts of your body on different days. Now, when you're just beginning, you might want to start with doing upper body one day, lower body the next day, your third day doing just aerobic. That will give you adequate time to give each muscle section the rest that it needs. You don't want to be doing like 2 weeks or a month of overall training where you're working major groups of muscles in your splits and then automatically, the next month go into, really isolated exercises, because you are going to injure yourself if you do that too quickly. You need to progress slowly, and as your muscles become more and more stronger and you start making bigger gains, then you can start making the more concentrated exercise part of your routine. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Have really safe workouts, and we'll talk to you next time.